from shore!
The bloody rocks! Get her over! Over! She won't answer, Mr. Onedin. She's too heavy in the water.
So put that to right. Don't you fear.
We've got to jettison cargo. What? As master of this vessel, I say it again, we've got to jettison cargo. I'll tell you, we do no such thing.
Throw away money, and we're as good as in port.
Don't take the responsibility further, sir. Not when she won't answer.
You've got your orders, Captain. We'll run for all.
Now then, eat this. Come on, it's not much, but it's something.
Can I have some, Mum?
Not till your sister's eaten. Oh, build up the fire. You must eat, Mary. How can you hope ever to get well if you don't eat?
The singing, Mum. The singing stopped.
Alice! What a way to greet your own flesh and blood.
Uncle Will! Uncle Will, have you brought food for us, Uncle Will?
All that I have, lad. Here, let me get properly in the door.
Thank God you've come, William. Thank God.
Well, I as near as didn't, Alice. We had a close call this trip. The girl.
She's got to be got out of here, William. Worse than ever she is in this place. She'll die.
Got out where?
To the country,
The country.
where the air is clean. See, I've thought about it. If we could find a little place, it doesn't matter how far away. I mean, Edward's a big boy now. He could help with the land, and we could grow enough to keep ourselves.
A place in the country? Woman, you gotta have money to come by things like that.
How much money?
How should I know? £100? Alice, I'm just this minute ashore. And as I told you, it's a mercy I'm here at all.
And you find Mr. Onedin raise £100?
Mr. Onedin.
Isn't it his fault more than anybody's that we're reduced to a life like this? He brought fever into the port.
Now, Alice.
He brought fever into the port. That meant the drains had to be blown up. So there was the end of our hearth and home. No redress.
Mr. Onedin wasn't to blame.
You stand up for him because you believe your livelihood depends upon it. But that's a mistake too, William. If the day ever dawned when your generous master had no further use for you, you'd not remain his bondman for very long, and well, you know it.
Mum!
Where is she? Will she earn a shilling and pay him no more?
Oh, they come to hunting in places like this.
Who are you, then? Hang on, I. Shilling! Plenty for the likes of her!
Alice, you ought to be got out of here. God knows how. But I'll find the money one way or another.
There's nothing I can do to help you. I'm in trouble. If the repair to the ship is really going to take 6 weeks, I'll have to make some other arrangements. But Briganza's cast must be in Portugal on time.
What about me, sir? What about the crew?
Well, you've your lives, haven't you? It's the way of the sea. You lose one berth, you find yourself another.
Well, you know well enough there's scarce a berth to be had in Liverpool at the present time. And you as good as promised us all this trip before we set sail on the last one.
6 weeks to mend a damned hole.
Well, I was master out there in the storm, and I said jettison the cargo. You told me to the contrary. So when it comes to responsibility for the damage...
Are you trying to tell
James,
me...
don't provoke Mr. Baines.
Provoke him?
You know his reasons for needing employment just now.
And for demanding £100 off me?
Mr. Onedin not demanding, requesting by way of an advance.
I've never heard of an advance to that order being made Admiral of the Fleet, let alone a merchant master.
For the Lord's sake, I must find the money to get my sister and her family out of that doss house.
And I must repair the ship. Without her, we're all done for. Shall I scupper myself to salvage you?
James, Mr. Baines' sister's living in dire circumstances. I've been there and seen for myself.
Look, we've got troubles of our own. I should like to borrow money to get us out of troubles, but the world is not like that. Each man must shoulder his own burden.
Well, that was wanton, sir. What you did out in the storm there, running for home unless the farthing's profit be lost. Now men whose families depend on it are without their livelihood. I call that evil action, sir, I do, wanton.
I've never heard you speak like that before, Mr. Baines.
Well, I'm sorry, ma'am. But it's his doing. I see it all plain now. All that's befallen me and mine is his doing.
Carrie? Carrie Harris?
Yes, what is it?
Oh, there you are. Someone to see you, Carrie.
What, here? A gentleman? Bert, wait a minute. Oh, give over, you lot, will you? Mind out of the way, I want to get this on. Thanks very much. Was it you wanted to see me, then?
Carrie Harris.
Yes, that's right.
The young lady that knew Mr. Albert Fraser I asked for.
Oh? And what might you be to do with Mr. Albert Fraser?
Is there somewhere we could talk?
Shut up, you lot.
I know Mr. Fraser quite well. We're old friends, really. And I heard there was someone here who was a friend of his, too. And I thought I'd like to make her acquaintance.
Hurry it up, girls, hurry it up. Jabber's on and you're on next.
Miss Harris, I'm going to be completely frank with you.
Yes, love. Perhaps that'd be best.
I'm more than a friend of Mr. Fraser's. Much more. Or at least I thought I was. But I've just found out that he's a married man.
Oh, dear. So we've been a silly girl, have we?
You knew he was married.
You don't like being seen in a place like this, do you, Duck? It's not your style at all.
Miss Harris, if Mr. Fraser is married, and if he's also been seeing someone like you, well, surely it's obvious.
Do you want a drink?
No, thank you.
Oh, look. There's one born every minute, isn't there? Us women need to benefit from each other's experience. Always make sure they pay up, eh?
Pay up?
Well, what else? Girl's the one with most to lose. Anyway, a gentleman ought to pay for his pleasures. It's only right.
Are you trying to tell me that Mr. Fraser actually gave you money for...
Well, didn't he you?
No. No, of course not.
Then you've learned something, haven't you? You know better next time. Look, £10 all I had. And even to get that I had to pretend.
No ships at all available for charter.
That is the sad fact, I'm afraid, James. I mean, look at these lists for yourself. Oh, there are clippers enough in port. If you have a couple of £100 available to pay in advance. We gave the tea brokers 3 months' grace.
You gave them.
Ah. But as for smaller vessels...
Now, look what the devil am I to do? I must deliver those casks by Friday week, otherwise I'm in breach of agreement with Braganza. And have that parked cargo of cloth ready for loading.
Well, couldn't you purchase whole space on some other master's ship?
Look, if every ship's chartered, every ship's loaded to the gunnels. No, I must see Braganza myself.
Hey, wait on. There is a ship. The Peacock she's called. And she's going out half laden, it seems. Bound for West Africa, too. Now, an obliging skipper might call in at Lisbon on his way, if you made it worth his while.
The Peacock. Not heard of her, huh?
Easy now. Straight down. Easy. Take the strain. Easy, I said! Get this cleared up.
Morning. My name's Onedin. I'd like to see the captain, please.
You'll find him in his cabin.
Oh, by the way, what cargo is she carrying?
Blankets, glassware and Bibles.
West Africa, eh?
Where else?
Pibrock. She's new to me.
New to most of us aboard. She's worked out of Port of London this last 3 years, for that Clyde side.
Do with the liquor planes.
We'll need a man to show you to the master's quarters.
Good day to you, Captain. My name's James.
Why, Mr. Onedin, welcome aboard the Peacock, sir. My new command. One I was lucky to be offered, no doubt.
No, Elizabeth, surely you're mistaken. Her name is Carrie Harris, a cheap little entertainer, Anne, a music hall girl. And Albert is paying her for her favors. I don't understand. Elizabeth, men don't go to women like that unless...
Unless what? Is there no hope for it?
I believe you offered me some tea.
How did you learn about this, Carrie Harris?
Well, by complete chance, I ran into Daniel Fogarty. Something he said made me suspicious.
I see. Daniel Fogarty.
As I said, the meeting was a chance one. He did call at the house one day to see young William. Well, I suppose that's his right from time to time. After all, he is William's father.
Albert's had a lot to forgive you for, one way and another, Elizabeth. Perhaps you should think of that now. What do you mean to do?
I shall leave Albert, of course.
What?
I'm not going to be made a laughingstock just so that he can enjoy his tawdry pleasures. A common actress known to one and all to have taken my place in his affections.
It is not known to one and all.
It shall be made known.
You can't leave Albert. Where will you go?
I'll find somewhere.
Oh, it sounds easy enough.
You left James.
And I suffered, Elizabeth, as well you know.
I can hardly stay under the same roof with Albert after this.
But you must. There's nowhere else.
Thank you for the tea, Anne.
Listen, William isn't Albert's child.
I'm aware of that.
In law, you have no claim on your husband, not the least. If you walk out on the streets, you'll be left there to starve. Elizabeth!
Let go of my
listen
arm.
to
Let
me.
go!
I'm speaking the truth. A woman has no redress in this world. A woman alone
I
has
shall
no
not
chance.
be alone for long. I'm not like you, Anne. I don't have your pride. I'll find someone to take care of young William.
Let go forward! Let go aft! Let go forward! Let go! All well, Mr. Onedin. I heard you gone below, so I thought I'd follow to see if there was something not to your satisfaction.
Just checking to see that me cargo was lashed properly. You've no objections, Captain Baines, eh?
None in the world. It's yours and probably paid for.
Yes. Poorly, though.
Eh?
Well, I offered you a share of the profit of my cargo of cloth, but you'd none of it. You'd rather a flat sum. It was a sincere effort to help you, you know. You might find that you've been the loser once we get to Lisbon.
Well, that's as maybe.
It doesn't worry you.
Oh, I can see to myself, Mr. Onedin. Don't you lose no sleep about that. Anyway, I'm obeying my owner's orders.
Owner's orders, eh?
Aye, as fast to run out as say will allow, and no obligations taken above those already contracted for.
Blankets, beads, Bibles. Strange cargo for a fast run.
Right up, go, Captain!
Aye, Mr. Carlo.
Owner's orders, eh?
If there are any difficulties with the stowage, Mr. Onedin, take them up with my mate, Mr. Carlo.
I wonder they let you accept my cargo as paid freight, seeing they were so anxious to set sail half-loaded. What you have to do, get down on your hands and knees and plead with them.
You're in trouble, sir. And it's not my way to leave a fellow seafarer high and dry. Not when I can assist him.
These are Bibles and beads.
What about him?
Well, hard to see where the profit lies in a cargo like that.
The West African traders need them to barter with the natives.
No, I know, but the profit must be tuppence halfpenny.
Oh, that's as maybe. There's a big consignment of hides and palm oil to come back, and there's a sight more profit than tuppence halfpenny. And I have to report to the agents in Freetown.
Pebrock. Interesting how you pick up a command. Just like that. So conveniently. Don't you think?
We'll just never come to the end of your curiosity, will we now?
She rides a deal lower than you think.
A respectable draft.
She's shipping a lot of water.
I've known other ship more or less be said about it.
Wonder what happened to our last master now.
Eh?
Well, seemed to have taken up your command, voyage and cargo all arranged, and crew aboard. Why was there no master?
How the hell should I know about things like that?
You mean it doesn't matter to you?
I was offered a paying proposition, and I took it up because I couldn't afford not to.
You're very fond of your sister Alice, aren't you, Mr. Baines? And you want to see her living in a decent home again.
What are you trying to say?
Maybe he died, eh? Or retired from the sea, eh?
Who?
The Pebrock's last master.
Have you done, sir?
Plenty of master mariners in Liverpool, some with wider experience than you, yet they chose you. Why was that, Captain Baines, eh?
Now, Mr. Onedin, if you're anxious that it'll come to a fight between us.
No. I never did harm to you or yours, Baines. Not deliberately, eh?
Well, it may be, sir. It may be, but you've done precious little to aid us either. And so, if I can be of no further service to you...
What's the matter with your man down there? Hasn't he got a bunk below?
Berthy? Oh, give him a feather bed below, he still wouldn't use it.
Why not?
Because he always dusses above, that's why. Less chance of the rats of the wild waves getting him, he says. But don't fret yourself about him, sir. He's daft. Daft as rabbits.
Bartley, are you awake? Listen to me, Bartley. There's some things I want to know, and maybe you can tell them me. Now, it's worth a florin if you can answer my questions. I hear you shipped aboard the Pebrock the last 5 voyages. Right? She's a queer ship. Something amiss with her. Who was her last master, eh? What was his name?
Are you the one, then? The one?
What one? What are you talking about?
Him. The seafarer's friend. You do say there's such a one. All lies, isn't it? Sailor lads can go to bottom at sea and be damned to them. Sailor lads to perish and know what to say.
Bartley of Florida. Now, come on, tell me.
Old Will Rigger. Now, he reckoned things would be different someday. There he is, drowned. It was Al Gibbons. Me, even. Aye. Maybe there's the way of it. Maybe I'm drowned too, and rest is... it's just mad dreams. It's the rats have survived. They don't stay below when it's too late. No fear of that. Sailor lads should take a leaf out of their book. Sailor lads shouldn't stay below on ships like the Mary Blanche.
Mary Blanche?
There's no seafarer's friend, I tell you. None in the wide world.
Yeah, what about the Mary Blanche? Some ship you was on? That went down?
I seen them rats come out of them bales. Everyone thought they was cotton. But the rats knew. Timbers went. Sea was on us all before. Slide.
Well, that should do it. Now then, Deliver this at once to the editor of the Courier for inclusion in the next edition. We'll squash any rumours about Mr. Fraser's sail at steamship. Oh, and tell the editor I shall look forward to the pleasure of having lunch with him one day next week. Look sharp, lad. Mrs. Onedin.
Mr. Fogarty, I hope I'm not disturbing you at a busy time.
Well, the fact is
I'm sure you know I wouldn't dream of calling unannounced unless my business were of the first importance. May I sit down?
Yes.
I'd better say at once that I've come to ask your help.
My help?
Not for myself. For someone for whom in the past I know you've entertained affection. Mr. Fogarty, why did you tell Elizabeth that her husband was associating with a music hall singer?
Mrs. Onedin.
Do you deny that you told her?
Well, I deny that I knew. I saw Mr. Fraser at Fox's music rooms and observed his interest in a certain party. But I in no way concluded or wished to give the impression that Mrs. Onedin that...
Well, Elizabeth has found out that it's so. And as a result, she means to leave her husband.
Leave him?
Yes.
Well, I fail to see what all this has to do with me. That marriage has been in the doldrums for a long time, from what I gather. I could whistle for a wind if it would help, but apart from
Elizabeth mustn't be allowed to leave her husband, Mr. Fogarty. A woman alone in England today is a woman damned.
My dear Mrs. Onedin, how am I to prevent it?
By speaking to Elizabeth.
I speak to her.
She won't listen to me anymore, nor to anyone else in her family. There must be someone in the wide world whose judgment she still respects.
And you think she will accept my advice? She was expecting my child asked her to marry me. She refused.
Are you saying you don't care what happens to it?
That's an unfair question. Well, this is all very difficult. As you know, I'm engaged to Miss Emma Callan.
Well, if you don't want that marriage to run into squalls on its first day out, shouldn't you see to it that Elizabeth set fair on her course? Please, Mr. Fogarty, in spite of the fact she once spurned you, Elizabeth deserves something of you. Hello, Robert.
Oh, Anne, we were waiting on your return. There's someone here I think you must meet. Captain Lubbock.
Mrs. Onedin.
I happened on Captain Lubbock this morning at the insurance office. I was filing applications. Until 3 weeks ago, Captain Lubbock was master of the Pembroke.
Right you are.
What the devil do you think you're doing?
Oh, no, sir, that's my question for you. We've noted your interest in the Pembroke and everything about it. Now we'd like to be told what you're seeking.
She rides too low. Any fool can see that. Shipping more water every day.
Oh, we're bound to get sweating this weather.
It's more than sweating.
Will you come nice and quiet now, Mr. Onedin? It grieved me something wicked to have to put a fellow master under restraint. Especially one, as you could say, taught me the ways of command. What business is it of yours?
What's in those bales?
I've told you, blankets, beads, and Bibles.
Blankets that weigh a ship down. Beads and Bibles that smash in a hatch cover.
Well, I've known plenty of accidents like that in my time.
And a sharp crew you've signed on here.
Oh, well, they may not be the best sailors in Liverpool, but...
A lunatic for one.
Oh, Bartley, I mean, well, he works well enough.
He knows what's in those bales.
I don't care what's in them bales. Will you say guns, maybe, or opium? I've known some mighty respectable skippers run things like that and get no bad conscience from it.
Talking about conscience anyway, I know yours well enough. You'd never do anything discreditable just for money now, would you?
What's that?
Money. More than is usual.
If I'm in need of money, Mr. Onedin, you know well enough it's not for myself.
It's a bad arrangement. I've heard of it before. Bigger fee than is usual. Then you agree to forfeit a large part of it if your cargo doesn't get in on time. Compels the skipper to run through all sorts of weather. Run risks. You're afraid that if you was to go down there and open up one of those bales, you'd find something to prove that the odds was already stacked against you.
Fetch Bartley. I want a word.
Aye, Captain.
No, sir. You've got something on your mind, say it now.
The Pembroke a coffin ship?
Yes, Anne, a coffin ship. That's our fear.
Mind, it's only my opinion, Mrs. Onedin. I make no direct accusations.
I don't understand what you mean, a coffin ship.
I resigned my command of the Pembroke because I considered she was too old and too rotten to put out into deep water anymore. But there she is, halfway to Africa again.
Oh, and on a fast run, too.
Are you suggesting that she isn't safe?
I'm afraid he's suggesting more than that, Anne. He is suggesting that...
Suggesting what? Tell me, please.
A coffin ship, Mrs. Onedin, is one whose days of reliable service are long over. But she's heavily insured. So her owners overload her and order her to deep water trades for the insurance.
Well, what is it?
How the blazes should I know?
Copper dross from the smelting works. Heavy. Found on deck, near the hatch cover, just after that accident with the loading.
Well, it could have come from anywhere.
It come from one of those bales down there. No, come on, man, she's shipping water like a sieve, and you know it.
I'm a master mariner, and I'll get her back no matter what she's carrying. They'll have their cargo, Bibles, copper dross, whatever it may be, and I'll have my money to get my sister that place in the country where she can support herself.
The owners chose the right man for master here. Thinking just like your owners want you to think. With your sister and family, they don't matter here. Ship and crew matter here. Your conduct's likely to prove wanton, Captain. Wanton!
Badly, Captain.
Soaked as a flounder, you crazy old loon. Can't you even sleep below on a night like this?
Least of all on a night like this, Captain.
Aye. Because it's on a night like this that coffin ships go down. Am I not right, Bartley? A night like this that the Mary Blanche went down, eh? Oh, come on, man. I've just remembered 7 years ago, the Atlantic run. Mary Blanche went down, and the owners claimed from complete loss from the insurers. Only you survived, somehow. It was the rats.
Them rats in bales. I seen them come out from where they'd been nesting, just before she broke asunder. And inside them bales...
Go on.
Iron bars. Where there should have been cotton. Iron bars to sink us all.
The seafarer's friend, Samuel Plimsoll. He wants a line to be put around all ships to mark a level above which they shouldn't be loaded.
To save lives at sea and prevent greedy masters from suicidal profiteering.
But what are we to do now? We'll drown.
No, Anne.
He'll drown, Robert. James will drown.
Steady,
If
lass.
you please, Mrs. Onedin, I may be completely wrong about the Pembroke.
You don't believe so, do you, Captain?
But why would the owners let James take hold space if all along they knew they only wanted to sink her?
There was space available. It might have created suspicion to refuse.
And my husband's as good as dead already, isn't he? And there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing. Daniel, the maid didn't say.
I neglected to give a name. I thought if perhaps Albert were at home...
Albert doesn't spend a great deal of time at home these days. He's busy working on his steamship, and when he's not, he seems to prefer Fox's music rooms.
I know, and it was that I came to talk to you about.
Indeed.
It seems something I said the other day when we met in the library may have caused you to make further inquiries.
Who told you that?
It was not my intention. I
Anne?
honestly didn't...
Was it Anne?
Elizabeth, listen.
Answer me, please.
Well, she's concerned for you, and rightly so. You can't leave Albert. Even if there's some chit of a girl at Fox's, it's nothing for you to get on your high horse about.
Shouldn't I be the judge of that?
Oh, these music hall girls, this kind of thing happens all the time.
Oh, yes. A wife should be tolerant and understanding of her husband's little weakness. I know. Men are all alike, you included, I suppose.
We're not talking about me.
Aren't we? Nevertheless, I should like to know.
Well, you already know, damn you. Wouldn't bother my head with some little doxy.
Then why should I forgive a fault in Albert that I wouldn't have to put up with in you?
Because he's your husband and I'm...
And that's all that matters to you, isn't it? I'm married, and therefore someone else is concerned. Nothing to do with the correct and ambitious Daniel Fogarty. Just the mother of his child, not to be seriously considered.
Now, why do you think I'm here if I'm not concerned for you?
Don't forget your hat, Daniel. You've nothing to come back to this house for.
Maybe I have, by God. Maybe I have. One day, my girl, one day, I'll do just what your husband is too weak to do.
What's that?
Give you a damn good thrashing.
Finished here, we can make a run for it.
The wind. Never me.
There's a lighthouse there to guide us.
That house to show us where the hazards lie.
Did men do, I'm with it.
Then you must send again the Pembroke. News of the Pembroke. Some ship returning home may have signalled Lloyd's at the Lizard about her. Or else the Paris Telegraph.
And why don't you go away home, eh? Captain Lubbock and I can see to all that's got to be done here.
Yes, Captain Lubbock's being very kind.
And then if she's off the coast of Spain, as we suspect, when she's sighted, we'll get a report. And if not, then...
Then we may never hear, may we? You don't have to tell me, Robert. I was a seafarer's daughter before I was a seafarer's wife. The long wait. Weeks, months even, before that bit of wreckage is sighted somewhere that says plain that the ship and her crew are no more. The long wait. It seemed like an eternity already.
And love.
We're coming in close now! You'll stay in one piece long enough, Captain. I mean to run her ashore sweet as a longboat. Men don't drown so easy with rocks, Captain.
He's safe, Anne. What do you think of that? Captain Baines ran her into the shallows before the timbers gave way. All the men got ashore. There. James is safe.
Oh.
Yes, you shouldn't have worried. Ship hasn't been launched yet that can sink me.
Coffin, James.
I know it was bad. Worse for Baines, though.
Mr. Baines?
Aye, and his kin. There's irony for you now. You were so anxious to help them, and you've done for them. Sorry to say. Here, any food in the house?
Done for them?
Aye. All those cables you sent come to the attention of the insurers. Such things do, you know. Now there's to be a full-scale inquiry into the sinking of the Pembroke, with Baines as master held responsible for the deliberate wrecking of his vessel.
But Mr. Baines couldn't have known she was a coffin ship.
He didn't want to know. He was just thinking of the money for his sister.
You're not saying Mr. Baines is guilty?
Well, the inquiry will answer that. We've troubles enough of our own, eh?
Is there nothing we can do to help, Mr. Baines?
Try and help people and you only harm them. Each man must take up his own burden. God help those that haven't the strength, eh?
Be upstanding.
Captain Baines, this board of nautical assessors has made a decision in your case. But before I say what it is, there are one or two things I have to say myself. The behavior of a master mariner who not only fails to inspect his cargo before sailing, but when warned that it may not be what is shown on the manifest, ignores that warning and proceeds to run a vessel as unseaworthy as the Pibroch into high seas and dangerous waters, that man has no right to be in command with the fate of ship and crew in his hands. We are indebted to the forthright testimony of Captain James Onedin in this matter, for had he not spoken so truthfully, we would not have had a full account of the last voyage of the sailing vessel Pibroch. Now, Captain Baines, Captain Onedin has pleaded, quite rightly, that you were under stress from some personal family problem at this time and only accepted the command of this ship in haste and with little thought for the consequences. However, that can act as no excuse. If this board of assessors felt that you had been a party to some predetermined plan to sink the Pibroch with possible loss of life and limb, then we would indeed deal with you harshly, sir, but this board does not regard you as a clever rogue, which to do such a thing you would have needed to be. You're a man who came to this position from a lowly station. Well, it may be that such promotion is not a profit to all concerned. I cannot say anything about that. All I know is that you behaved in the most unseamanlike manner, verging on the criminal, and that this court has, in my view, dealt with you very leniently. Captain William Baines, you will not sail as master on any British ship for a period of 6 calendar months. And it may be that owners may think twice of using your services after that.
Sir, I must protest. Is it proper of you to say that, to warn owners against me? I think the assessor's decision is hard.
Do you?
Yes, I do, sir. But I have to abide by that, but I can't stand idle while you tell owners not to employ me when my period of 6 months is done.
Captain Baines, you presume to instruct me in my duty as chief assessor in this case? Well, mister, do you?
I apologize, sir.
What, man?
I said I apologize.
Really, the manners of some people. You will not sail as master for 6 months, sir. You may, of course, obtain work as ship's mate, a post I understand you know full well. The findings of this court will be made known. The proceedings are at an end. Mr. Baines, you may step down.
But But he said...
Do not argue, man. Tis over. Come on, have a noggin. I'll warrant you need it.
Aye, and some work.
Captain Onedin.
I'll see you in the tavern, eh?
Well, Captain Onedin, a satisfactory verdict.
Well, as I've already said, Sir Walter, Mr. Baines is a good and steady seaman.
A good and steady mate, perhaps. You know, some men are born to command, others to obey. It's all a question of birth and family, sir.
Oh, I've no doubt that you're right, Sir Walter.
You know, Onedin, I was very impressed by the way you gave your evidence. And I must say, I've been very impressed by the way you're talked about in this port.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Why should you make inquiries about me?
Because I like to know the caliber of the man to whom I entrust my son.
Your son?
Yes, the lad is set on a career at sea. And I want him apprenticed to you.
Well, you've every merchant master in these islands to choose from.
Yes, and I choose you.
Well, I'm not one of your fancy captains, you know, with every convenience on board. I can't but think that you'd do better to go with a larger company.
No, the lad wants the sea for himself. I do not want it for him. I'd rather see him in the Navy office or some shore establishment. That is the family tradition. But, well, I was at sea myself as a lad.
George, you think that this one voyage might knock the idea out of his head, eh?
Well, let us say it'll be valuable experience and might make a man of him. He's done very well at his school.
Oh,
yes, rugby, yes. Oh, yes, captain of fives, poetry prize.
Poetry prize, eh?
The all-round man, you know.
Mm. Well, I must warn you, sir, that I carry no passengers. If your lad comes sailing with me as an apprentice, my fee will be 50 guineas.
I shall consider it well spent. When do you sail?
Monday week, noontide. For Frisco.
Frisco, eh?
Yes, of course, if you'd like to cancel our arrangement.
No, not at all, not at all. My son David shall sail with you.
Right, then.
Frisco, eh?
Oh, hey, come back here. Oh, yeah, Baines. I sailed with him once. He's a proper git. Gave me a hell of a trip, he did. Yeah. I wonder if he got off. He no good. Mind your own business.
Noggin of rum.
Captain Baines. Or is it Mister?
Have a noggin, if you please.
Ah. So, it is Mr. Baines, then.
Mr. Baines! Sorry's one of my crew. Anybody who harms him robs me of second mate. Leave.
Tell me when that's done. Captain.
Thank you, Baines.
Will you come out smelling the roses? I come out smelling the manure.
Sailors, look.
Did you hear what the commissioner called me?
Signifies nothing.
Well, he as good as said because I was low-born, I wasn't fit to command.
Look, let him have his prejudices. They don't harm anybody.
Well, they harm me.
No. You harmed yourself when you took on that voyage. You've nobody to blame but yourself, you know, mate.
Well, you're Job's comforter, aren't you?
Well, what are you to do now, eh?
Get drunk.
After that?
Well, I don't know, and that's the God's truth. I've got a ship aboard as mate. It's the only course open to me. But I must maintain my sister and her 2 children. I'm down to my last shillings after this delay.
Here, put that in your pocket.
Oh, no.
Here, man. Don't want my first mate fuddle-headed, loading my cargo to go around the Horn.
The Horn?
Well, you want the job or don't you?
Aye, I do that. Captain.
Frisco begun.
I beg your pardon?
James is taking the Charlotte Roads round Cape Horn to San Francisco. Sails on the noontide on Monday. It's in the lists.
How very exciting.
No, it's more than exciting, Milan. It's the last testing journey left to a sailor.
Then I have no doubt that James will enjoy it.
Horn is not there to be enjoyed. It's there to be conquered.
I'm sure it's nearly as dangerous as some quarters of Liverpool after dark.
No, it's not that it's just a particularly dangerous stretch of water, my dear. It's symbolic. It represents nature at her most violent. Charlotte Roads is a small ship to make such a voyage. To round the Horn in a 150-tonner. What a proud boast that would be.
A coarse boast. Not that of a gentleman, which of course we all know you are.
How did you find out?
What?
I presume you're referring to Carrie Harris.
You dare mention that woman's name in my house?
You've been dropping hints for days.
Have you no shame?
What's the point of shame?
A low woman in a music hall. You leave her and you come home to me.
No, madam, I do not come home to you, at least not very often, as well you know.
Your conceit of yourself astounds me, sir.
I'm glad of it. Now, perhaps you'll keep your nose out of my business.
Your business?
Yes.
You wish me to ignore it?
Wise women do.
Terrified women do. Afraid of losing their homes and being thrown into the street.
I said nothing of that.
Money is short, you forever tell me, yet you pay this woman enough.
How'd you know?
She told me.
You've been to see her? You've been in her company? You in that place?
Yes. Haven't you?
That was another matter.
I think not. I repeat, you say money is short.
I gave Carrie Harris £10 because she said...
Yes?
She insisted she was with child by me. Lies, of course. If there was a child, it could be anybody's. Probably there isn't one at all. But one goes through the prescribed form in these matters.
Prescribed form? Is that what you call it? I call it something else. I call it lust and licentiousness, sir. Those are my words for it.
Then you would do well to watch your words, Elizabeth. You're in no position to throw stones at anyone, least of all me. Without me, you wouldn't have a home. And I doubt any man would do more for you and your child than I did.
Oh, it was very noble of you. And of course you had no thought for your own vanity, or what people would have thought had the truth become known.
The matter is closed.
A husband can open a conversation and close it as he chooses. And a wife must comply. It is not closed. Albert, I'm thinking of leaving you.
Leaving me?
That's right. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have things to do.
All right, you lubbers, keep everything well lashed down. We're only carrying cotton stuffs, and it's a light cargo for the Horn. We like a cork in a bathtub if it ain't that tight. Oh, Mr. Curry.
Yes, sir.
You been round the arm before, mister?
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, no, you haven't. You haven't been round it at all till you've been round under me.
I think perhaps you'd rather I'd not come down to see you sail.
Well, I'd have you bid me goodbye with a smile, that's all.
It's not every day you go round Cape Horn.
I've been around it before.
Not as captain.
Almost good as most.
Oh, better, I'll allow that. But why go round her east to west the hard way? Why not go round the Cape of Good Hope, across the Pacific and back round the Horn like most do?
Because it takes too much time.
Time is money.
Look, this cargo of silver ore from Frisco. It'll help buy more shares in the steamship company.
And for that, you go round the Horn. Fog, snow, terrible winds. James, have you any notion of the fears I bear when you're away from me? And after that last voyage on the Pembroke.
Look, now's not the time, eh?
Time! You've no time for anything but your profits, James, and that's the truth of it.
It's not just the profits that matter. It's what they can buy.
That wretched steamship. You risked body and soul to build an iron monster that no one but Albert believes will ever sail.
She'll sail, if she's ever built. And she won't be built unless I find the money.
Oh, forgive me, James.
Oh, look, Anne, I wish you'd go up on deck. Or if you're going to stay...
I'll stay and smile.
All those barrels in the forward hatch. Morning, Mr. Fraser.
Mr. Baines, Captain Onedin below?
Yes, sir, but we're off at high water.
So I understand. I have a bag in my carriage. Have you taken aboard, will you? There's a good fella.
Hey, you. Come on, I'm going to jump for you.
All right.
Baines? Anne? Do I have a cabin?
I'll ask Baines if he'll take the second mate, sir.
You said nothing of Albert sailing with you, James.
Oh, did I not? Well, Albert has a fancy to take a trip around the Horn, so I understand.
What does Elizabeth say?
She knows nothing about it yet. Oh, how melancholy. James' taste in wine has not improved. At least what he gives away has not improved. Surely there must be something better than this. I left a note for it to be delivered at 12 noon, which is, I think, in 5 minutes' time. Ah, Spanish. Still.
What about your steamship?
I thought the trip would be useful. If I'm to build an iron ship to make the voyage, I must know the conditions.
And what is the real reason?
Well, there comes a time when a man feels, if you'll pardon the indelicacy, corseted by women. He longs to free his muscles for a month or two.
All ashore! All ashore!
Everybody aboard, Mr. Baines.
Everybody except the new apprentice, Captain. David Teal.
Good voyage, James.
Thank you, Anne.
Take care.
I will.
Come on, man, quickly. Oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am.
Quite all right.
Ah, thank you, sir. Who are you?
Teal.
Teal?
Yes, indeed. David Teal, the new apprentice. Sorry I'm late. Coach horse went lame.
Teal. You any relation to Sir Walter Teal?
His son. Is there someone to take my trunk below?
Aye, lad, there is. You! Now pick it up and move.
To Cape Horn.
He's on board. I've just got his message. Well, if that's what he wants. Let him go.
Come on, lads, down here. There you are. Fancy passenger gets the first mate's cabin, so I get this. A proper pigsty, this is. Well, put it down, son. That's your bunk there.
Thank you.
Your first voyage, lad?
Yes.
Now you got some surprises coming in.
Indeed.
And call me sir, or mister. I'm second mate on this ship.
Yes, sir.
You know the mate, do you?
We've just met.
You had a taste of him already, eh? Well, you'll see a lot of Mr. Baines before this voyage is over.
What are you doing skulking down here, Mr. Corrie?
Just getting my gear stowed away, sir. And I think I'm hardly done by I really do, sir. I mean, this is no place for a second mate.
You sleep where you were put, mister. And you?
I beg your pardon?
I'm your taskmaster.
Yes, I gathered that.
Sir to me, who does everything I tell you at the double. Everything understand?
Yes, sir.
This is a long voyage, Mr. Teal, and I'm going to teach you to be a sailor lad. By the end of it, you'll be able to hold up your head in the port of Liverpool, or be a disgrace to your family. And They're on the port watch with me, 4 hours on, 4 hours off, unless you hear all hands on deck, and that means you at any time, understand?
Yes, sir.
What's the matter?
Nothing, sir.
Then on your feet, lad.
Well, he ain't got his sea legs yet, sir.
I said on your feet. Now go on, smarten yourself up, present yourself in the captain's cabin in 10 minutes. He wants to talk to you. And make sure you're seaman-like.
Yes, sir.
Wow. He's taking a proper fancy to you, isn't he? You sure you never seen him before?
No. Oh.
Oh, hey, here.
Bit of a swell, eh? You all right?
Yes, thank you.
Come in.
Your apprentice, sir, Mr. Teal.
Oh. Mr. Teal. Yes, I've got your book, lad.
Yes, sir.
Captain to the captain.
Yes, Captain.
You says aye, aye when at sea, lad.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Well, now, we all start off as apprentices. Mr. Teal seems a hard school at the time, but never did any of us any harm, eh, Mr. Baines?
No, Captain.
No. You wanted the life, your father tells me.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Are you feeling ill or something?
Until it will pass,
Right. Now then, well, just listen to Mr. Baines and obey him. Mr. Baines will teach you how to lay down a course, use of the sextant.
I know the theory of that, sir.
You do, do you? Well, you found a bit more practice than theory on this trip, lad. Right, well, just listen to Mr. Baines, obey him in all things, and, that's all, lad.
Aye, aye, Captain.
When you're quite ready, lad. Those gloves, you better put them in your pocket. You won't be needing them this voyage.
No, sir.
A list of duties of a seaman, apart from what the captain told you. Now, you're listening. Right, there's tarring, greasing, oiling, varnishing, and painting. Washing and steering, reefing, furling, and bracing. There's making and setting sail, there's pulling and hauling, and there's climbing. Can you climb?
Of course I can climb.
Right, let's see it. Right, let go of the topsails!